What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm doing something a little bit different today. I decided to take a little bit of a break from the How Good Is Your Overwatch League team series, and instead I want to celebrate the fact that my channel recently hit 50,000 total views, and I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but for me, I find this to be a significant milestone that I have now surpassed because I'm halfway to 100,000 total views, which is going to be awesome. I know we'll get there one day, but why not celebrate, have a little bit of a fun video, and give my opinion on every single Overwatch hero. I'll go from right to left order according to the hero selection screen, which means that we're kicking things off with supports, and the first support you can choose from on the right side of the screen is of course Zenyatta, and Zen is a character that I have always liked. I mean, I used him before he was cool. I used him back during the beta days. I thought he was fun back then, and now I find him even more enjoyable because he has better healing. Obviously, he doesn't have the greatest healing in the world compared to some of the other supports, but I just love the fact that he's a high damage hero, but also he's a healer. I'm a support main if you didn't already know, so Zenyatta is a really cool character for someone like me to use. I love the fact that I can heal my teammates, but I can also contribute by doing damage at the same time. Up next is Moira, and I share mixed feelings on this hero. I think that she can be fun to use. I like the fact that her healing output is off the charts, and the fact that she does okay damage, kind of like with Zen, except Zenyatta obviously does more and everything. But at the same time, I'm not the biggest fan of this hero just because nothing is worse than running into those tryhards in free-for-all that just be Moira and are unkillable. They just spam the orbs and they keep healing. It's so dumb and I absolutely hate it. Why would you want to be Moira in a free-for-all? I think that she's fun to heal as, but to just be a damage dealer, it's kind of boring and it really isn't all that challenging. Moving on to the third support, it is Mercy, and I used to like Mercy. I'm not the biggest fan of her anymore. I used to really enjoy her during the early days of Overwatch, up until the point where her res became overpowered, and then when they changed it to Valkyrie and that was overpowered, that's when I kind of drew the line and started hating the hero because she was just a must pick in every situation. And I love using Lucio. He's probably my favorite hero in the game, but anytime I picked him, everyone would just yell at me to swap off because Mercy was the meta pick. Mercy is kind of fun again for me now that she's been nerfed, but she's not as fun as she could be, unfortunately, because they nerfed her healing into the ground. They really need to buff that a little bit so she can become more relevant. I think it's good that she was kind of out of the meta for a while, but I'd like to see her have some relevance alongside a lot of the other healers. Mercy is a very strange hero. Blizzard just can't find a happy medium with this character. They either make her too powerful or they make her too weak. There's really no in between. The fourth support on the list is Lucio, and as I mentioned earlier, he's probably my favorite character to use in this game. I fell in love with him ever since the beta. I don't know what it is. I just really enjoy everything about his kit. I love the fact that he can ride on walls, be super speedy. His amp can do a good amount of healing. I love his sound barrier, his boop. Everything about this hero is just awesome. And yes, I know that he doesn't do as much healing as someone like Moira, or as much damage as someone like Zenyatta, but Lucio has a lot of perks that those heroes can't offer, which is great. Lucio is my most played hero by far, and he's also who I'm best at. Up next is, oh, geez, it's Brigitte. Do I really have to talk about this hero? I hate her just as much as everybody else, and to be honest though, I liked her when she first came out, when no one really knew what she was capable of, but as soon as we all found out, I instantly despised her. She actually killed every single comp that isn't GOATs in cold blood. She literally just ruined everything. She made it so we don't see as much Winston, no more Tracer really. She destroyed everything that we used to know. I really wish this hero was never made. Hashtag delete break. The final hero to round out the support section is Ana, and kind of like with Zen and Lucio, I've always loved this hero ever since her release. Her healing output is absolutely insane. I love everything about her kit. I love the fact that she can both damage and heal enemies with her sniper rifle. Her nano boost is absolutely awesome. I'm so glad they decided to buff her and make her more relevant in the meta again. I missed her a lot and I'm so happy to see her back. Now let's talk DPS, and first up is Widowmaker, and Widow is one of those heroes that I really love playing, but I'm just super bad with. I see guys like Pine and Carpe in the Overwatch League make all these crazy plays. I try and replicate said plays and just fail epically. I don't have the aim of a god, so I'm just really bad with her. Up next is Tracer, and kind of like with Widow, I'm not very good at this hero. I think part of the reason is because I always play Tracer very passively, since I'm scared I'm just going to get one shot in the head, since I only have 150 50 HP to work with. Tracer hasn't been meta since Brigitte was introduced into the game, and these tank heavy and support heavy compositions became must play, since Tracer just doesn't do enough damage to deal with all of that, and that's a shame. I really want to see more of her in the future, so hopefully Goats and Brigitte can just die out sooner than later, but until then, Tracer will be stuck in the Shadow Realm. Up next is Torbjorn, and I've never really liked this hero. I know that he's okay now that he's been buffed. He's still not great, but compared to his old version of himself, he's a lot better, but I'm never going to like him because of all the times I've been trolled by teammates in competitive. I just can't get over that. There were so many times where we could have won games, but I've run into Torbjorn mains or people like got triggered and switched onto him, and we end up just losing the game because of them. While we're on the subject of former troll picks, let's talk about Symmetra, because everything that I said about Torb applies to Symmetra really, although I will admit that these days, I don't see a lot of troll Symmetras. They're actually decent at the game and they know what they're doing, which is good. It's fun to have winnable games even though I have a Symmetra on my team. I'm also not the biggest fan of Symmetra because they've changed her so many times. The fact that they still haven't really gotten her right is just a big problem. I think she's the best she's ever been at the moment, but I feel like she could still be much better. Oh, and one more thing before I move on to the next hero. Shout out to all of you who played the game back when Symmetra was considered a support hero. Those were the days, huh? Pretty interesting times. Now we have to mention Sombra, and I've never liked this hero. I'll be 1000% honest with all of you. I don't think she's that fun to use, and as a support main, nothing is more annoying than that persistent Sombra that always hacks you, EMPs you, and just focuses you down the entire game. I absolutely hate this hero. Soldier 76 is that hero that all the former Call of Duty players go to immediately, I feel like, because they just feel reminded of what they used to play when they are on Soldier 76. He's got the assault rifle, he's got the Helix rocket, which basically is a noob tube in a way. Shout out to all of the MW2 players out there. He also has an aimbot. It's literally a Call of Duty veteran's paradise. But also another thing I'll admit about Soldier is that he's a really good hero for any beginner players out there, just because he has sustain with his healing, he does fair damage, and he's not difficult to use at all. I don't mind Soldier, but I feel like he can just be a little boring at times to play. I think it's mostly because he's one of the most generic and basic heroes you could possibly pick up. So with that being said, let's move on to the next DPS hero. And that hero would be Reaper. And I do think he is somewhat enjoyable to play. The only problem is I don't go on him all too often, since it's very easy to counter him with ranged heroes such as McCree and Widowmaker. I also do have a little bit of hatred for this hero just because it can be very irritating to face that pesky Reaper who just bullies all of your teammates because they're very oblivious of their surroundings and they have no idea how to counter him in any way, shape, or form. That's what makes Reaper so dangerous. He is a noob slayer, and I honestly think you could probably main him up until Diamond without much of an issue at all. The 8th DPS character on the list is Pharah, and she's always been one of my go-to heroes when I need to play DPS. I've always found her enjoyable since day one. I know she's not as good as she used to be since that whole splash damage nerf thing came into effect, but she still can be pretty decent and just very fun to use overall. I'd say Pharah is probably one of my better DPS heroes. I'm not saying I'm a god with her or anything, but I think I'm okay at hitting the mid-air rockets, winning the Pharah battles, and getting initial picks needed to win fights. Mei is one of those heroes that is okay in my opinion. I mean, she's not amazing, but when she's put in the right hand, she can be very dangerous and just super annoying to deal with. I swear, Blizzard put Mei in this game just so she can torment and troll you the entire game. I feel like her kit was built just to make you want to rage quit because she can freeze you in place both with her gun and her ultimate. Her wall can be used for many different purposes, including walling you off from certain areas, also walling you off from her so you can't kill her, which means she can stall so you can't capture the point. Then she also has her ice block, which allows her to further stall. It also lets her heal, and there's also the fact that she has 250 HP, which is more than the average DPS hero. When you combine all of that together, you get one super infuriating DPS hero. Up next is McCree, and I have very mixed feelings on him. I mean, for one, I think he can be very fun to play. I think he is kind of more on the challenging side because you need to be mechanically good at the game to be the most effective with him. But with that being said, you still can be effective with him, but in a super annoying way. Yes, I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about. The people that always just go up to you, stun you, and you fan the hammer every single time. Is it really that hard to hit a headshot when someone's stunned that you have to just fan the hammer them? I know it's like a guaranteed kill and all, but it's just so annoying, and it's not even rewarding? How do you find any sort of pleasure from just getting fan the hammer kills over and over again? How about you earn them and hit headshots instead? And while we're on the subject of headshots, I also despise the people that are really good at McCree and just hit every single shot. It can be very, very annoying to deal with. Moving on to Junkrat, he's okay. I don't think he's super annoying or anything, just because it's pretty easy to counter him if you have a sniper on your side, but at the same time, I do find him to be kind of boring, just because I feel like most of the time you're mindlessly just spamming bombs and mines, and I don't think that's very enjoyable personally. Moving on to Hanzo, he has always been one of my favorite characters in this game. I fell in love with this character during the beta, and I've always enjoyed using him ever since. Nothing is more fun than just hitting a bunch of headshots in a row with this character. I love the fact that he has a bow. He was my first golden weapon, actually. His bow was the first weapon I decided to buy the golden version of, and I don't regret it at all because I still use a fair amount of Hanzo these days. Kind of like with Pharah, he's one of my go-to picks if I'm asked to play DPS on my team. And I know that some people may find this boring, but I absolutely love to pull off the Dragon Strike and Graviton Search combo. Nothing is more satisfying to me than when I'm in-game communicating with my Zarya and we pull off a picture-perfect combo where we wipe out the entire team. It just gives me the best feeling ever. And while we're on the subject of the Shimada family, let's talk about Genji, and he is easily one of my worst heroes in this game. I just don't know how to Genji. How does one Genji? I'm not able to do anything right with this guy. I can't land my shurikens consistently, and I know I sure as hell am not good at using my Dragon Blade. I rarely get 2 or more kills. I'm usually lucky to get 1 or 2 every single time I use it. Genji is a fun hero, but it really does trigger me when I see a good Genji player own me because I have no idea how they do it. How does one be a good Genji player? Alright, who's next? Oh, it's Doomfist. I do not like this hero. He's easily one of my least favorite characters in this entire game. I had high hopes for him when he first came into Overwatch. I really thought that maybe he'd be the DPS character that I'm really good on, but it turns out that I suck at him, and also that I find him to be one of the most annoying characters in the entire game. Doomfist makes the life of a support main an absolute nightmare at times. He can just make you feel so useless, especially when you're on one of those heroes that doesn't have a lot of mobility like Zenyatta and Ana. Obviously, on Ana you can stop Doomfist with a very well-timed grenade and with a sleep dart, but with Zenyatta, unless you're able to just hit a huge volley that are all headshots, there's a good chance he's just going to uppercut and slam you and you're dead. Doomfist triggers me. That's all you really need to know about him. Next up is Bastion, and he was one of those other heroes, kind of like with Symmetra and Torbjorn, that was seen as a troll pick. And he's gone through a lot of different stages where I feel like at the beginning of the game, he was just eh. Then he became really good when they buffed him, but then they decided he's too strong, so they nerfed him. He became eh again, more of a troll pick. And right now in the meta, he's kind of decent. I wouldn't say he's great or anything, but I think he's finding a little bit of a place in the current meta. Kind of like with Junkrat, I'm not the biggest fan of using Bastion just because I feel like you can mindlessly play him and still be effective, and that's just no fun to me. I find that to be very boring. I honestly don't think I can say that I love or hate Bastion. The last DPS hero on the roster is Ashe, and I don't have a full opinion on her yet just because of the fact that she's relatively new to the game still at the time of this recording, but what I will admit about her is that her concept is really cool. I love her weapon, her dynamite, Bob, everything about this hero is awesome. It's also really cool that her and McCree have some history. Everything about Ashe is awesome, but I'm not very good with her. I will admit though, it is very fun to watch the pros play on her just because they make her look so nasty at times. Alright boys, it's home stretch time. Let's talk about the tanks, and starting things off we have Zarya. And Zarya is one of those heroes that I like playing, but I really wish I was good at. I'm not exactly sure how people are able to farm Graviton Surges so easily. I swear it takes me like half a round just to get one grab because I'm that bad with her. Even when I have high charge, I feel like I just can't charge my Gravitons very fast. Maybe I just don't use her secondary fire enough. I'm not exactly sure what my problem is, but either way, even though I'm bad at this hero, I consider her to be a lot of fun to play, and I also enjoy watching other people play her who actually know what they're doing. When you put Zarya in the right hands, she is one of the most deadly heroes in this entire game. Up next is Wrecking Ball, and the only thing I really have to say about him is that he is so annoying. Am I the only one that feels like it can take an eternity to kill him in ranked when you have a bunch of incompetent teammates surrounding you because they just don't know how to shoot a moving target? because I feel that way a lot, especially when the Wrecking Ball player actually knows what he's doing, because he can just stall out the point for like a million years, and then I tell my teammates, focus him down, we gotta kill him, and we try our best, but to no avail because all of my teammates just miss their shots and don't know how to deal with him for some reason. I just don't understand. Up next is everyone's favorite primate, Winston, and honestly, he is just a character for me. I think he can be fun to play, but I'm not very good at him, unfortunately. I feel like I always seem to just feed my brains out on this hero, and am I the only one that finds it very annoying when you just want to mess around in quick play and you're on Widowmaker or Hanzo or whatever, and there's that persistent Winston that's always just up in your face and he actually kills you a bunch of the time? That is just the worst for me. It really ruins the experience when I'm just trying to have a good time and potentially get some cool plays in. Now let's talk about Roadhog, who I think might be my least favorite character in this game. Words cannot describe how much I hate Roadhog. I literally haven't liked him since the very beginning of Overwatch. I think that his hook combo is just dumb, it's easy to pull off, it's very consistent, and hook used to be overpowered back in the day. I think they did a good job of fixing it, but it used to be a real problem, and it made me triggered a lot. It makes me so happy that Roadhog is not one of the most relevant tanks in the current meta. Obviously, you can use him in pretty effectively, I'd say, at times, but you don't see him a lot, is what I'm trying to say. And that pleases me greatly because I just hate the hook combo. It just makes me so mad every time I die to it. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because it's been happening for like 13 seasons now, but I'm done with it. I really don't like this hero. I'm sorry to all of you Roadhog mains out there, but he irritates me. Now it's time for my favorite shield tank in the game, Reinhardt. I've always considered myself to be an okay Reinhardt. I think I'm a little over aggressive. I also feel like I have a lot to learn since I feel like I don't use my shield a lot, but when I do use it, it always seems to die really fast. I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing wrong there, but I enjoyed this hero greatly, especially when you pull off the huge earth shatters with like 5 people in it. Very, very satisfying hero to use, especially when you pop off and get like gold damage in your game. The final shield tank we have to talk about is Orisa, and I wasn't a huge fan of her when she first got released into the game, but she's really grown on me since, if I'm going to be honest, and I think she might actually be my best shield tank hero. I will admit, it can be a little boring to play her at times because she has absolutely no mobility whatsoever, and you kind of just stand there and shoot a lot of the time, although it is very satisfying when you land a Holt and you combo it into a Roadhog hook, a Diva Bomb, whatever it may be. And last, but certainly not least, the final Overwatch hero that I need to give my opinion on is D.Va. I know a lot of people hate D.Va because she's been relevant in the meta basically since they buffed her that very first time at the beginning of the game, and I don't blame people for feeling that way. It's kind of boring to have the same hero be relevant in every single meta you've ever played in, but I kind of like D.Va. I played her before she was cool, I guess you could say, because I played her back during the beta days and before they buffed her during the early stages of the game. D.Va's probably my best tank in my arsenal, I'd say. For some reason, I always pop off with her and get like the most damage in E-lanes. I'm not trying to say the character is easy or anything, but I feel like she's the easiest for me to pop off with personally. Her micro rockets, defensive matrix, high mobility, and self-destruct makes her a very powerful character. I'm sure the D.Va haters out there are going to be very mad at me, but I like using D.Va. I'm sorry, but that's just how I feel. And that covers my opinion on every single Overwatch hero. Before I end the video, I just wanted to give a huge shout out to all of you who have been supporting my channel. Whether you just became a subscriber today because of this video, or you've been a long-time subscriber, I love and appreciate all of you so much. This channel has been doing pretty well lately, at least for my standards. I know that having a little over 300 subscribers isn't that much, but for me, that's pretty good. I'm very happy with how well this channel is doing, and it's all because of you guys and your continued support. So once again, thank you all so much. And that wraps everything up here, ladies and gentlemen. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button. Also, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, this is ATP signing out. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.